Hey everybody, a couple days ago there was a guy posted to the Star Lab page. He was trying to hook up a router to his plasma table. I think he was experiencing some frustration, and so he asked me if I could help him out. I said, I really don't know much. I don't know a lot. I've done it like a handful of times, but I'll make a quick YouTube video and make a post on YouTube of what I do know. A lot of the stuff I learned the hard way. And in fact, yesterday and today, they've been days for learning and kind of making me question my life choices today. So anyway, on that post, Matt posted a link to a YouTube video so that you get this icon on your desktop. And just follow his directions in the video. I know it's kind of intimidating when you get into the configurator and all that stuff. But just follow it. If I can do it, you can do it. But you have to have this extra little icon that says router. You can't use your regular icon that's up there for the plasma table, and you can't change the post through there. Just do it like Matt's video, and you'll be just fine. But you got to have it. Okay, so then once you have that post from that link that he sends you, you just open up SheetCam like you normally would. You're gonna put in your let's say our new part, yes, and we're gonna do this in this crate bottom router, and inch. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of we're gonna uncheck the layers that I don't need. I don't need 0, and I don't need the new groove. And so the groove, I actually went back and redrew this with a single line. So I'm going to program this single line. I'm going to cut that single line with a 1/4 inch bit so it'll make a groove. But if you draw this up as a 1/4 inch, SheetCam doesn't like it. It gets mad at you and it won't program it right. It says the features are too small. So I figured out this is the easiest way. Just draw a line. And then make it cut on that. So we're going to program that one first. So we're just going to go up to operation, and we're going to go to contour, not pocket. We're going to go to contour. That's no offset, and there's my layer. And start depth, we're going to start at 0, which is going to be the top. Cut depth, okay, the plywood is 0.75 inches thick. And I figured out you can do a 1/4 inch cut on this, and a feed rate at 125, and a plunge rate about 5 inches. And then it's going to do a cut sequence. It's going to do three cuts at 0.25. You can't cut a piece of material 3/4 of an inch thick in one pass with that small of a bit. You're going to break something. So that's why you just take it nice and easy. And as you get experience, you'll figure out how fast or how far you can push it until things go south. Okay, so cut, start. Don't worry about that. Now go to cut path, and that lower right corner, you'll see these holding tabs, and they're pretty important because it's going to program tabs in there to hold your piece in there. Now this one. It's big enough that the tabs are too small when I cut it. It didn't go anywhere, so it was no problem. But if you get small pieces, they're going to come loose and they're going to flop around in there, and your bit's going to catch the side. So I went 1/8 of an inch, which was actually a little bit too thin for this material, so we'll try it at 0.1. Minimum number of tabs, I programmed it to every 12 inches, and place tabs, click that, it'll program it, click OK, and click OK again. So there we have our grooves. Now, one thing about SheetCam, I don't know why it does this, but it starts down here for Pierce 1, or where it's going to start. It's going to go back, and it's going to come to this side, it's going to go to the right, it's going to keep doing that. So what I actually did was I went in and I manually changed it so that it would cut in a zigzag pattern, which is a lot quicker, and you're not traveling from this end, clear back to this end to start your cut all over again. And I might post a separate video on how to do that. I can't really remember offhand because I've only done it one time. Okay, so now we're gonna program our outside cut. Go back to operation. We're gonna do the contour again. And this time we want the outside cut, and we should run our layer so that we need. And we're gonna use the same parameters. In fact, I take that back on that cut path. I programmed holding tabs in that. It doesn't need it because we're not cutting out, so just disregard that. But we do need the holding tabs on this outside perimeter. So that's where we're going to change that to 0.1, and that'll keep hopefully keep things in place. So I don't know what I was thinking about the pocket. It's just been one of those days. And click OK. So there we have our part program. Now it's going to cut it out of that sheet, and I try to get the sheet like in the part I'm cutting out. I try to get it in the middle. So we're going to go 0.75 on the X, and 0.75 on the Y, and that'll basically get it right there in the middle. Okay, so after we have that, we want to make sure that we have the correct post, and parking, nesting, path rules, tool change, variables. Where did it go? Operation, machine, post processors. Okay, so go to operations. Let's see. So I went to options, job options. No. Options, machine, post processor. And make sure you're on that post processor. That's the one that Matt gave me. If you pick out one of the other ones, even though there are ones from CNC, I couldn't get them to work. But when he gave me this one and I downloaded it and set up my icon on the desktop, it works great. Okay, so we're on that correct processor, and okay, we're going to run the post processor, and we're going to give it a name. So just name it anything that makes sense to you and save it. Okay, I already have that in there. I'm going to replace it. Oh, I got two of those open. I shouldn't have two instances of SheetCam going at one time. Doesn't like that, gets mad at you too. Okay, so once your part is programmed to SheetCam, go to your router. There you go. Stepper motor's clicked on. Okay, now one thing about this, yesterday I couldn't get the e-stop to come off. And then I remembered that on our magnetic breakaway, there's that little button in there for the breakaway. So I just put a piece of metal on there on the magnets, holds that down, and then you'll be able to deactivate the e-stop. And just go to open, recently used, the last one there, and there you go. Click run, hope for the best. But just don't promise any jobs for people until you try it out and figure out how to do all of it. It's another learning curve. Just like when we all bought our plasma tables, we had to learn. The last thing I want to cover is the fella asked if he should run a spoil board underneath the sheet that he's cutting out. So if you're cutting this sheet out, and you don't really need it, but in my opinion, it's not a bad idea, because right there, I got a little bit too deep and I got into these extruded aluminum pieces. So even if you go get a cheap piece of 4x8 Luan plywood, this is the cheapest thing you can find, but put it underneath this piece and sandwich them in there. And that way, if it goes through your material that you're cutting, it'll go into that Luan and not into your tabletop. And then I'll do another video on my tabletop and how I set it up and what I would do differently, because there's a lot of things I would do differently. It's a little sketchy, yes, especially on this end here. But I hope that helps everybody out that wants to put a router on there. I guess one last thing I should cover real quick is when you put your router on there, let's unplug it just in case. I know a guy lost tip of his finger in a router, so it makes me a little skittish. But when you go to set 0 on this, and don't forget to set 0 on your router on every sheet, and I didn't. And I think that's why I got in there too deep. I didn't have my 0 set. And I was off, and then it cut deeper than it should have. So, live and learn, right? Okay, so we just loosen that up. And then the easiest way, you saw the router drop a little bit. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise our Z. Let's get the handheld out here. Try and do all this one-handed here, so not the hand is so. Okay, let's turn our speed down a little bit here. I've torn up enough stuff this week, so let's not do any more. So I want to get that router bit over a place where I haven't routed. Okay, so your router is loose in there. And then what I do is I grab my handheld and I go down and just make sure your router is loose. Make sure it's loose. Make sure you've loosened these bolts here so it'll float in there. But just go down and watch for your router to move up a little bit. Where are you? There we go. Okay, so the router popped up a little bit. So that's 0. And tighten your bolts back up. Keep your router in position. And I can't stress enough, like don't forget to do this. And the other thing is don't forget to turn the vacuum on. That makes a hell of a mess. Sawdust everywhere. So I almost need to make a checklist of things to do when I do this. Okay, so that's 0. And just raise your head back up. And then you can zero your machine out just like when you go to plasma cut. So it goes to 0, 0. Oh shoot. When I should have changed this to 0. So after you bring your router down, you touch the plywood and the router comes up a little bit and that's 0. I should have come over here and hit 0 like that and I would have zeroed it out. So really, if I'm going to run it, I'd have to do that all over again. But like I said, I need a checklist of things to check until I get used to doing it. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I know there's not a lot of information out there on the CommandCNC with the router. I'll try to make some more videos as I get time. I'm not very good at this YouTube stuff, but I've been wanting to do this for quite a while just to help people out, and because if there's anything that can go south, I've done them all, especially yesterday and today. So maybe tomorrow will be a better day. I don't know. All right, take care, everybody.